They come from around the world. They can be found throughout the country. They are a powerful labor force. They often perform jobs that most people would never consider. They are great contributors to our society. Hello, my name is Tony Valdez, and in this next hour we will take a journey into the lives of a people who make their living in America's fields, warehouses, and packing plants. We will learn about the struggles and successes of these proud people, a people with strong family values, a people with a spirit to achieve. We will also come into contact with the essence of their culture, which is beautifully communicated through poetry, music, dance, and visual art. In the next hour, we will take a compelling journey into the lives of a people rarely seen or heard from in our society, yet heavily depended upon to nourish our economy and to provide food for our families. Follow me as we uncover the migrant worker, California's hidden gold. As early as the 1860s, Native Americans and Asians were picking dates, apples, melons, and oranges. Mexican miners were working in the Clifton-Morenci mining district, and Juan Bandini was traveling to Tijuana to hire vaqueros, the original cowboys.
America has had a love-hate relationship with migrant workers. When migrant workers are needed, they're sought after. When the economy gets in trouble, typically, they're often repelled. They're often seen as unnecessary. And in the most extreme cases, they're often seen as a threat.
The West was basically empty and unpopulated except for Native American tribes, which did not develop vast agricultural systems here. It was done by force. It was done by moving rivers. It was done by moving mountains and plowing up valleys. All of that was done by human labor. And the migrant stream actually encompasses all of the races of the world. The Spanish that arrived here and the Americans that came afterward tried to use Indian tribes to farm the land, and the Indians would not do that. They were too insistent on their own freedom. So immigrants became essential.
Chinese contract laborers first appeared in California in 1852, and in 1865, transcontinental railroad construction began. Chinese workers were heavily recruited. Many Chinese immigrants eventually transitioned to California's agricultural industry.
Because John's got his notice to get off.
What happened? How come they gotta get off? We lived here 50 years, same place.
Everybody's got to get off. Everybody's leaving, going out to California.
The Dust Bowl exodus was really an anomaly. It was kind of like a blip on the radar of the grand migrations of human history. But it was intense and it was severe, and the government responded with the Works Progress Administration programs.
Ironically, this period also saw the influx of many Filipino laborers who were allowed to enter the United States, but only under extreme restrictions.
Civilized men can sit together with the employers, and that by mutual agreement we can bring peace back to Delano, and that things will return to normal. These are my most sincere desires.
Now, Cesar Chavez, as it goes, was a Gandhi-esque type of giant human being that had suddenly come on the scene, and his values, his humility perhaps was reminiscent of the humility of the Mexican land servant, but underneath it was a world philosophy that, to me, was Quetzalcoatl, as a feathered serpent come to life again. It was the spirit of nonviolence in ancient America that he represented to me.
Not enough housing. There's just simply not enough units available for them to live in when they come to work during the season. And whatever housing they find, it's also not affordable.
So where do they live then?
They double up with another family somewhere in town. They rent a place that no one else would rent because of its condition. Some of them camp out.
This is the house that Daniel built. Daniel has been coming to California for the past 4 years to work the fields. His reasons for living in this canyon are simple.
We don't have enough money to pay rent. The rent is very high. My work is nearby. That's why I stay here. Well, when one doesn't have a car, how do you move around?
But, you know, I grew up where I took my vacations in the potato sheds, and none of that work is easy. You know, you got to be half crazy to do it anyway. All we did on summer vacations was take 100-pound sacks and load them in trucks and pack the bags of potatoes, and I've cut apricots when I was 11, so I've done all of that stuff, and it made me know what it's like and how to appreciate it. Other people who aren't exposed to the weather and the heat, you know, if they're in an air-conditioned office, it's hard for them to appreciate what happens outside.
Well, after a while, farm workers get depression that is grave, and sometimes even doctors cannot detect it. Even the people themselves cannot, because they don't know what it is. Sometimes it is because of the stress of the job or too much work or of the abuse. I found that very striking, that the very first thing that they started talking about was the impacts on their mental health.
The factors affecting the mental health of migrant workers are not necessarily determined by the specific job they do, but by their lifestyle.